It's Mike's Daily Podcast.
And this is FF episode 2816-2816.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And Mike Matthews here in Podcastro Valleyton, the last place on earth, the land of Meritopia. People here dancing around, and it's like it's some kind of phenomena that people are wondering about this podcast and when it's gonna be going off the air, off the internet. Not anytime soon.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
When you got 2,816 FF episodes to listen. And the wonderful Mike's Daily Podcast.com
Mike's
website.
Daily.
That's been around a long time.
Podcast.
And Mike.
Yeah.
Doing my little bit of media here. And I work in the media. I work in radio. I'm an operations manager for some radio stations in the Bay Area near San Francisco. We have some interesting people. There's this one guy that calls all the time, calls this phone number that is affiliated with our station, and there's an answering machine, which there's not really an answering machine. It's just the machine is that it records digitally, not one of those little tape things you see from the Rockford Files. Hello, you've reached Rockford. Isn't that how that show started? Every episode, they'd have somebody calling, and he'd leave a message with the James Garner amazing voice. No, this is somebody calls in, leaves, and nowadays through the miracle of digital technology, you can get the actual audio sent to your email. So I get this lovely bit of audio sent to me constantly, and I'm listening to this guy, and I'm going, what is this? What? Why? Tinkerbell was just yelling at me. So here's the thing, is that in this world of media, and so much different media that we can access through our smartphones, the magic of those.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Oh, the podcast picture is of me in my happy place. I was at Poplar Beach, where I used to take the late great Basil the Boxer. And my lovely lady friend and I went there, and it was so windy. And she decided to wear one of these bucket hats because she wanted to keep the sun out of her face. Well, those hats are not conducive for very windy conditions that you get, especially in Northern California at the beaches. And the whole time she's holding down the hat and with both hands, holding it down. No band tied onto the hat to keep it from flying away. The late great Basil the Boxer would have been happy to chase her hat had it flown off her head and bring it back to her. And he used to go to that beach all the time and run back and forth. So somehow my lovely lady friend took a picture of me as I was walking into the very cold, cold water on a windy day and held her hat down on her head simultaneously. But see that picture at mikesdailypodcast.com. That's amazing. This is amazing media. Let's hear it for amazing media. Thank you. Right on cue. Because Americans, they don't have any faith in the media anymore. The public relies heavily on local and national news organizations as sources for news about elections. This according to an AP poll. But many adults have concerns about the reliability of the information they get. About half of adults, say they are extremely, it's something to laugh about. Because if you don't laugh about it, you're going to cry. They are extremely or very concerned about news organizations reporting inaccurate information. 53% said so. It's interesting. I was listening to somebody had made a cassette or somehow recorded it's probably reel to reel because it was from 1971. And it was a recording of Wow, Charlie Tuna. Charlie Tuna was on a radio station called KHJ in the Los Angeles area. When I was a kid, I wasn't listening to that. I was only 3 or so at that time. And my mom wasn't listening to that kind of music, so I never heard it. But when I was older, in the late 70s, KHJ turned to a country station, and we used to listen to that because country had gotten really popular in the late 70s with bands like Alabama. You had Dolly Parton, Willie Nelson, Kenny Rogers. The late 70s, early 80s, country got big with them. So, and Sylvia.
The Nosebleed section.
This is amazing news. Let's go back in time. Sylvia, 'cause your nobody called today. He hung up when I asked his name. Oh, I wonder, does he think he's being clever? Oh, it's a woman. Does she think she's being clever? Yeah. Nobody. Sylvia. And then there was also Juice Newton, playing with the Queen of Hearts. You know it ain't really smart. Joker ain't the only fool. Love's been a little, just been a little.
The mic tip.
Love's been a little bit hard on me. Something like that. Yes, so all those, that's my tip for today. All those country artists that were big at that time. So we were listening to KHJ then, but in 71, it was still the top 40 boss radio with the playing all the hits.
Might rip someone a new one.
Here's my rip. So Charlie Tuna, whom I met, and Charlie Tuna had that beautiful radio resonant, beautifully modulated voice. This is Charlie Tuna. And I met him once when I was in radio, country radio, when I just gotten a full-time job at K-Hay. In 94, I had a chance to meet Garth Brooks. He got his star on the Walk of Fame, in Hollywood Walk of Fame.
I just want to thank everyone for joining us here on this show. This is great.
It is great that you're joining. Thank you. Met him, and the picture that I got taken with Garth in the background is Charlie Tuna. And my mom had this picture hanging for the longest time in her video store when she had a video store in Oxnard. And people would go, "Oh, who's that?" And she'd say, "That's my son." "Oh, and that's Garth Brooks with him." Yeah. And then in the background is Charlie Tuna. So if anybody noticed, Charlie had the worst, he did not get the best toupee.
For your entertainment,
His toupee.
the one, the only,
Toupee.
Mike Matthews.
Wearing no toupee today. Thank you. But anyway, Charlie Tuna, very famous radio personality. And then he had a news guy on. And I heard the news guy doing a report on the tape. First off, his news report was 10 minutes long. And I think there were FCC regulations saying back then that you had to have your news report be at least that long. There were a lot more rules with the FCC back in that time period. As we go outside a Café Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast.
Scavenger hunt. Somewhere
in Podcastro, Alleyton, the last place on earth, looking for all kinds of interesting things to bring to you. So Charlie Tuna, his news guy was like Higglesworth or something was his name. And the way he was delivering the news is the point I would like to make. Because it was so authoritative. Like, you could trust this guy, the way he sounded. It sounded like this was definite, this was absolute. It was not a ridiculous random post. It was the truth. It was very... In the news today in Warsaw, there were over 500 people that were discovered, and it was very... And it wasn't any of this, so, like... Right. There's a lot of people in Poland right now. So, like, so much of this valley talk that we get in the up talk in the news media, on the radio particularly, I notice. And you just have a lot of people that do the news that you think, they were just, they didn't win. They didn't pass the audition for that soap opera they wanted. So now they're delivering the news, it seems. So that's why maybe these low numbers for
What's the cliche of the week?
News outlets.
What's the cliche of the week?
And it says here that
What's the cliche of the week?
47% worry
What's the cliche of the week?
that news outlets will report unverified information. That's from this poll. They polled a bunch of people, and that's what they found out. And they're also worried, about 48%, almost half, they're worried that news will focus too much on
What's the cliche of the week?
divisions or controversies.
What's the cliche of the week?
that's fascinating.
What's the cliche of the week?
That they don't have
What's the cliche of the week?
the trust that the Associated Press said years of suspicion about journalists, much of it sown by politicians, is partly responsible. People are also less familiar with how journalism works. Hot Air, which is a left-leaning website, said as a result of only 14% expressed confidence in the national media and only 11% in their local media. Should the media be surprised by this? No, but they certainly will pretend to be. The Associated Press predictably tries to shift blame for the confidence crisis in their industry. So,
Mike's absolutely useless review.
that's my review on news and the way that news is covered. And here's a little bit of news that I'm covering here on this podcast. That according to the Wall Street Journal, President Biden warned China 2 years ago not to provide material support for Russia's war in Ukraine. Well, recently, Secretary of State
Random.
News Random Antony Blinken conceded that Xi Jinping ignored the warning. China, Mr. Blinken said, was overwhelmingly the number one supplier of Russia's military-industrial base, with the material effect of having fundamentally changed the course of the war. Whatever Mr. Biden chooses to do next will be momentous for global security and stability. Mr. Biden can either enforce his red line through sanctions or other means, or he can signal a collapse of American resolve by applying merely
interesting
symbolic penalties. Beijing and its strategic partners in Moscow, Tehran, Pyongyang, and Caracas would certainly interpret half-hearted enforcement as a green light to deepen their campaign of global chaos. Mr. Xi sees a historic opportunity here to undermine the West. That from the Wall Street Journal. And speaking of Putin, he was at an Easter service led by head of the Russia Orthodox Church. He and scores of other Moscow worshippers attended an Easter service on Sunday.
Myclopedia Insanika.
All the fascinating stuff I've pulled from the Myclopedia Insanika. Actually, this from Reuters. This was Sunday, led by the head of Russia's Orthodox Church, Patriarch Kirill, who is a staunch supporter of the Russian leader and his war in Ukraine. Putin was in a dark suit, white shirt, and a red tie. And it's more of a burgundy, I would say, in the capital's main church, the Cathedral of Christ, the Savior, together with the Moscow mayor, Sergei Sobyanin.
Matthew's News.
And they were both holding red candles. That's my news. The Russian leader crossed himself several times during the traditional sung service that begun late on Saturday and lasted into the early Sunday hours. And Kirill has strongly backed the war in Ukraine. Now in its third year, tens of thousands have been killed and millions driven from their homes since Putin ordered the invasion of Russia's smaller neighbor in 2022, February of that year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, remember that? People are forgetting these things. At the service, the patriarch prayed for the protection of the sacred borders of Russia, expressing hope that God would stop the internecine strife between Russia and Ukraine. And on Easter, Putin traditionally goes to the gold-domed Christ the Savior Cathedral, which was rebuilt in post-Soviet times. It becomes a symbol of the state's symbolic relationship with the Orthodox Church. He always attends services during major church holidays. The church under Kirill has been clamping down.
MTV News. You hear it first.
Yes, my MTV News here. No, this is a little bit of Russian news. Not that Russian TV, that RTV or whatever it was, that was just pushing Russian propaganda on us. But Kirill has been clamping down on internal dissent, with one priest facing expulsion for refusing to pray to God to guide Russia to victory over Ukraine, and another suspended for presiding over memorial services at the grave of Alexei Navalny, the opposition leader who died in an Arctic prison back in February of this year. Remember that? The other interesting news...
Wine. Well, I like
The whiny white man wine list.
And you will hear a lot of people whine about the media and about what it covers and about things that it covers. That why do they cover that? But let's cover this. Warren Buffett cautioned the tens of thousands of shareholders who packed an arena for his annual meeting that artificial intelligence scams could become, quote, the growth industry of all time. I do not like it when people refer to somebody as the GOAT. When I know it's a term. It's such a weird reference. Greatest of all time, but it's GOAT. I keep wanting somebody to. Nobody's like going meh. GOAT is an acronym and a noun in the dictionary, driven by its pervasive usage around sports. Thank you, sports, for pushing that along. Sports industry makes you want to drink a root beer. Oh, look who's here!
Oh, Mike, I make delicious root beer. Have some right now. Oh, boy.
Thank you. Yeah, I was just going off on this tangent about the whole... Oh, that's delicious root beer. What's in there?
Tangent.
I love a little bit of do you mean tangerine? Oh, he walked away. Oh, he came back.
Drink it now, I'll cut you.
I do. It's in my root beer mug, which I then poured into my Yeti, which is only a little slightly better than a Stanley. Oop, I just dropped it and broke it. No, actually, that would be the root beer mug I dropped, because the Yeti will last forever. It's made out of some kind of other world material. It's very strong is what I'm trying to say. And the Stanley Cups, I guess, as well. But then I think of hockey. And when I hear goat, I think of goats. And soon they'll be all over the Podcastro Valley countryside, eating all the wonderful leftover pieces of dried up dead grass.
What in the world was that about?
My point being, grass is still growing like crazy in the Bay Area because we got a bunch of rain over the weekend. Which is amazing in May to get a bunch of rain this late in the year. Or this late in the winter into spring into almost summer to get rain. We get it in fall, but not this time of year. So the hills will still be green with the sound of music. But Warren Buffett says AI may be better for scammers than society, and he's seen how. Scammers are going to benefit, not society. Doubling down on his cautionary words from last year, Buffett told the throngs he recently came face-to-face with the downside of AI, and it looked and sounded just like him. Someone made a fake video of Buffett, apparently convincing enough that the so-called Oracle of Omaha himself said he could imagine it tricking him into sending money overseas. What? Yes. The day started... This was on Saturday with Berkshire Hathaway announcing a steep drop in earnings. As the paper value of its investments plummeted. And it's been paring down its Apple holdings. Things aren't going so well for Apple. All kinds of news stories about what's not going wrong over there. The company... Let's see. There's all kinds of numbers here that will bore the heck out of you. But Buffett encourages investors to pay more attention to the conglomerate's operating earnings from the companies it owns, because apparently those jumped 39%. Throngs flooded the arena to buy up squishmallows of Buffett. Buffett squishmallows. And they're also, the late Vice Chairman Charlie Munger also has a squishmallow. These are like little toy thingies. Is that it? Yes, there's a picture. I don't know what that is in this article that I pulled from the wonderful folks there at the AP, speaking of the Associated Press. But people wanted to go there. The event attracted investors from all over the world and is unlike any other company meeting. Those attending for the first time are driven by an urgency to get there while the 93-year-old Buffett is still alive. 93. Wow. That's it. Oh, look who's here. Hi, Mike. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How y'all doing? I brought my horse today.
That's a Disgruntled Fiddle Player, tell you what.
What?
Well, I heard a little bit about Jimmy Buffett. He's real cool and he sings, but he's gone.
Yeah, he's gone like Charlie Munger. But Warren is still with us as of this recording. Yes, he transformed Berkshire from a floundering textile mill into a massive conglomerate made up of a variety of interests, from insurance companies such as Geico to BNSF Railroad to several major utilities and an assortment of other companies.
Let's go back with Matthew.
Mike, I think it's for y'all. Time to go back in time, Mike. You gotta go back.
Let's go back. I gotta go back, cause it's an Eddie Money song. Does Eddie Money remember? Eddie Money's gone too. Late great Eddie Money. Anybody remember that Eddie Money song? Okay, let's go back in time. Way back in time when Warren Buffett was super young and making his first billion, I was trying to get into radio. Why? I wonder often now, why? Why did I do that? Well, I guess I kind of liked it. I liked listening to the radio. I thought it was something that I could really do something different with. I could create something different with. And then along came podcasts, and I go, oh, I'll jump into that. Because there really are no rules in podcasting. But in radio, there were some FCC rules that you had to follow. And although a lot of that got relaxed when Reagan was president, which is about the time that I got into radio, there was still a lot of things that we had to do. We had to do the weather. And here I am. I've got the controls of this radio station, this particular one in Santa Barbara in the late 80s. Which is just right next to the area where Oprah lives and Gwyneth Paltrow. I heard she threw a big party there. And Montecito is right there. If you ever see the movie It's Complicated with Meryl Streep and Alec Baldwin. Is he in jail yet? And there was also John Krasinski. And there was Steve Martin was in it too. So it takes place in that particular area. There's beautiful Santa Barbara there. You've got Goleta. I lived in Goleta up at UC Santa Barbara for 2 years. I commuted the first 2 years from Oxnard, California, all the way up to to Goleta, where UCSB is. And that is about an hour-long drive, but it's the most beautiful drive you could possibly want. The commute is unbelievably beautiful. You're right next to the ocean. And that caused some problems because sometimes that road would get shut down. And the only other way to get back down to Oxnard is you have to go way far inland through a mountain road, go past Lake Casitas, through Ojai, which is also very beautiful, and Oakview, where Johnny Cash had a house. And you end up taking this long, much longer drive to get back home, which I think I had to do a couple of times. But I had a job in Santa Barbara at the station Y97, and I did this for quite a while. It also involved playing the Casey Kasem show, his Top 40, American Top 40 program, which you can still hear on radio stations all around the world. They replay his 80s shows, and there was this time that I was doing that, getting up super early on Sundays to do that, and also doing an air shift here and there on the overnight. And I think this is one of these times. This is from the late 80s, 1989, a little bit of this from what we called Most Music Y97, Santa Barbara's Hot FM, KHTY were the call letters. It is now gone. I think the frequency might be Spanish now, or Christian music or something. I'll look it up. But
KHTY Y97. Hello, my name is Mike Matthews, and if I do sound a bit nasally, it's because I'm just getting over a cold. Yes, good morning. I have a question for you, okay? Now, call me up and tell me this, 965-9797. Who is the person you like the most, and what is your fantasy date with that person? Come on, give me a call, 965-9797. You can tell me, for gosh sakes, you don't even know what I look like. So come on, 965-9797. Here's Madonna, 197. With the latest from Mike and the Mechanics, The Living Years. Hello, I'm Mike Matthews, and who is the person you like the most?
Well, it's really hard to say because I know he likes me because he writes me letters to school.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know I don't know yet.
Well, you know, it's that kind of a thing. People spilling their guts on Y97. If you have a request, go on and give me a call, 965-9797. Also, if you have the cure for the common cold, give me a call, 965-9797. I need to know that. Here's the latest from Cinderella on Y97, The Last Mile.
Aw, see, people used to call up the station, and we were playing Cinderella, because they had a huge #1 song with Don't Know What You Got Till It's Gone. And yeah, 97.5 is now a Christian music station in Santa Barbara. And KHTY, the call letters moved somewhere to Bakersfield for an AM station.
Oh my gosh!
The bottom of the chart.
Pretty good songs that never made it on the radio because people didn't think they were worth it. But you know what? They come back up and people start playing them, and it's like, oh, where'd that come from?
KHTY Y97, Tracy Spencer, Symptoms of True Love. Hello, this is Mike Matthews, the late night substitute DJ. And do you have a cure for the common cold?
Sure do.
What is it?
Take 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day.
But it's too late because I already have the cold. What do I do now?
You do?
Yeah.
Keep taking. Drink plenty of water.
Plenty of water?
Yeah, I did a research paper on vitamin C. I learned all about it from Linus Pauling.
All of these smart people, really. Cross my heart, 8 Wonder, 197. I have the common cold. Give me a cure. Call 965-9797. Help me.
Vitamin C. See, even in the 80s, they were promoting vitamin C. Amazing. Gregory Abbott!
KHTY Y97, Mike Matthews, the late night substitute DJ. And do you have a cure for the common cold? I've had it for a day.
Try to get lots of sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And take Robitussin every 4 hours.
What is that?
Take Robitussin every 4 hours.
Robitussin. Nah, that's not a word I use very often.
Robitussin. Do they still make that? Oh, that Fleetwood Mac song. That was on a greatest hits album, As Long As You Follow. And I hope the young gal that we heard at the beginning of Let's Go Back with Matthews, that the boy she was in love with, who was sending her little love letters, I hope they ended up getting married. Now they have kids and grandkids. I hope that's the end of that story. Wouldn't that be a happy conclusion to that? Well, a little bit later, in 1992, I was working at a radio station that was doing the early classic rock type thing. We were playing everything from the 50s through the 80s, and it was called The Bus 96.7. It no longer exists. I think it is now a Spanish music station.
More than oldies, The Bus 96.7. It's the 90210 song, Adult Education. Luke Perry, oh my God, he's such a cute guy. Oh my God, I just gotta have him. Oh.
Wow. Luke Perry, the late Luke Perry. He was really popular at that time, I guess. That was a little bit of Hall & Oates we were coming out of with the song Adult Education. That was off of a greatest hits album that they did.
Oh, shut up. It's Hall & Oates on the Bus, 96.7. I'd like to say a quick happy birthday out to Sheila Hammer. I don't know how old she is, but she's old enough to, to win stuff from the Warehouse Top 10 Countdown. What we do every weekday here is we... oh, that's not the thing I wanted to say. Oh, heck, we'll talk about that anyway. Warehouse Top 10 Countdown. Stephanie Rose, what he does is she comes in here, she counts down the top 10 songs made popular on a particular date in history, like 1842. The number one song was, Oh, There Goes My Mule Again. No, actually, she's a little bit more recent, like 1966 and that kind of thing. Join her every weekday on the bus. Silk Pavilion.
Yeah, that radio station, 96.7, it is now a Spanish music, a classic Mexican regional Mexican music format called KLJR, La Mejor, and it is out of Santa Paula, broadcast to the Oxnard Ventura radio market. It went on the air all the way back in 1976 as KAAP, which was an adult contemporary format. Then in 1982, it became an album rock station called The Buzz. 1982. I don't remember that because I was in the area around that time. Then it flipped to soft rock with KIEZ. Oh, because it's easy listening. Then it was sold in 1989 and became The Point, KXPT. And was switching to, I guess it played smooth jazz then. Then it became known as KXPT, or from KXPT it went to KXBS. BS standing for not Brilliant Sunshine, but The Bus. And that's when I worked there. And it lasted from 1990 to 1995 when it played, it kept the same name, but it played alternative rock. And then it flipped to Spanish adult contemporary in 1997. And I believe it was called Corazon, El Corazon, KCZN. And, it was sold for $1 million. I remember the guy that sold it, and wow. I think he probably wanted a lot more. He was seriously in debt for all kinds of reasons that I won't go into, but some of them not so good. So then it's been basically Spanish ever since. Fascinating. And that's the station that I was at when I was in my early 20s. Maybe this was late 20s-ish.
With the blue dress, Mitch Ryder on the bus. And good golly, Miss Molly, along with that. It's a medley, I think is what they call it. All right, it's a bus. 96.7, Mike Matthews with you on a Sunday night, just hopping up and down here. And, yes, we got to tell you about this. This is great. Tuesday night, what we're going to do, we're going to go over to the Radisson Suites Hotel in Oxnard with Jim West. I'm still jumping up and down. Oh, Devil with the Blue Dress, broadcasting live from 5:30 to 8:30. It's heck, he'll stay till 8:50 if you want him to. It's Jim West at the Radisson Suites Hotel. He's got all kinds of stuff to give away, including ski tickets to Mountain High, free Christmas trees, haircuts, tans and you can get tanned from Strand's Hair Salon, and a lot more. Also, you can win free tickets to see Rick Springfield in concert at the Ventura Theater. Devil with the Grab all your friends and join Jim West happening this Tuesday night for Ladies' Night, the Radisson Suites Hotel in Oxnard. We're going to open up the magic love potion number 9 after this.
Yep, that was 92. Then I was into the country. I went country in 1994. Country music was really huge at that point. Again, with the Garth Brooks, the Alan Jackson, later Shania Twain, Dixie Chicks, Faith Hill, Tim McGraw. And here we were in the early 2000s then. I had been at the station for almost 11 years doing a show called the Santa Fe Cafe.
Right, there you are. We heard Chris Cagle's new one called Country by the Grace of God before that. Kenny Chesney coming up. Sarah Evans on the way next. We'll get Tim McGraw and Alan Jackson, Brooks and Dunn. The new one from Toby Keith called The Angry American, courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue. That's on the way too. And more chances for you to win. You and I are going into the kitchen of the K Santa Fe Cafe to see what the chef is cooking on this grad night, whether it be food or a new part in a movie.
Uncles, as you know, I'm quite a popular sex symbol amongst the ladies.
Okay.
So, I have a difficult time going outside with all these women here at the cafe.
Oh.
Yes, so I have to stay in this kitchen and cook.
You know, if they knew that you were in here, they would just come barging in through that door right over there.
It's true. Matt. Matt, they're coming in through the door for me, not for you see.
Right, I know that.
Yes, Sean Connery. He was also very popular at that time. And then one little bit more of the K. Santa Fe Cafe from the early
The cafe is heard only on
KHAY.
100.7 KHAY with KH's Matt Michaels.
You guys met at the fair?
At the county fair, yeah.
At the Ventura County Fair?
Yes, sir, we did.
What were you guys doing? Were you raising pigs?
And she was just walking around, and I met her, and I gave her a stuffed animal, and we've been dating ever since.
Oh, that's cute. Did you steal the stuffed animal, or how'd you want it?
I won it, and I won her a bigger one after that.
Okay. All right, see now, because you want it, and that shows that you've got that skill. What was it? What game was it?
It was the one where you pick the bottle up with the bottle.
That's yeah, the fishing pole bottle thing. That's tricky.
Yeah, it is, but we won.
Oh boy! So, have you guys gone fishing yet?
No, I haven't taken her. I don't think she likes fishing, but I'll get her into it.
Did you go on any of the rides that were really, that made you want to vomit?
I don't get sick on rides.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Oh, boy. Well, you're young. When you get older, a lot more fat is in between your ears, and when that wobbles, you get a little sick. Faith Hill with Tim McGraw, just to hear you say that you love me. Blessed, Martina McBride, just before that. On the way next, Leanne Rhymes, and we'll get a special interview going with new artist Rodney Redman. He's on the Audium Records label, and we will hear some live music he'll be playing for us at the K. Santa Fe Cafe. So let's go. We're leaving the K. studio, walking out to the Matt bus, and Felix, the bus driver, picking us up and taking us to the cafe.
Where to, Matt?
The cafe.
Well, this is my night job. During the day, I remove tattoos.
Oh, boy, that's good.
$1 million?
Rodney Redman. He was going to sing live for us at the K. Santa Fe Cafe. I don't think anything ever became of Rodney Redman, sadly. It'll be interesting to see if YouTube doesn't pull this video down, because we did play a little bit of that Madonna song that she did from that Austin Powers movie, Beautiful Stranger, with Michael Myers a little bit in the background. But I don't know, it was a loop. If you can throw a loop, throw YouTube for a loop with your loop, baby, they don't get you. Okay, now the segment called the Mike Matthews New Tunes Feud. I'm going to play for you some songs that were emailed to me, mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com, some new music, and see what you think. You can call me at 510-228-4640 and let me know what you think of the songs that we play for you here. Detroit band, The Doozers. The Doozers share a new single. Let's see, they are a indie pop quartet. Their title also happens to match up with the date. Oh, it came out on the 3rd of May, and it is called 5/3, as in the date. And they said it started with Sean all alone with a polyrhythmic beat on the organelle. And then once the whole band was introduced, it blossomed on its own without much discussion. The song is a declaration of confidence, a reassurance of spring through the final moments of winter. Okay, and here is a little bit of that. It is the song 5/3 by The Doozers.
Till we blossom again, I'll happily tomato wave and I'll ponder, make sense of all the chirps, let them stay. And I'll be sure, and in this well, I don't.
The Doozers there with 5/3. Can only play a little bit because YouTube, and they're the Gestapo. You got to be careful with them, that they don't catch you playing a little more music than you're supposed to. YouTube would be such a different place if that wasn't the case. Oh my gosh, the thing, and just podcasting in general would be a whole new world of different content. I hate using that term, but that's what it is. I'm not content with the term content. This email to me says, hey, hope this finds you well. There's a new single, A Little Word, featuring Hamilton Lighthouser, out today only on Bandcamp. Oh, this is from Nicole Atkins. who supposedly is going to be touring with an opening for Stevie Nicks in St. Louis on May 7th. Oh, okay. So here's a little bit of her song. It is called A Little Word. Nicole Atkins. There's a little bit of that. Nicole Atkins, some nice keyboard playing there. All right, and then the last song is by an artist called, not an artist named Baldan with the period symbol next to it. Second release, it's an artist named Baldan. Following up his debut, Inner Smile, that was supported by the likes of Bingo Players, Crystal Waters, and more. Okay, this song is called Jump. Let's listen to a little bit of this. It is Baldan.
Jump, don't ever look back, oh baby. Yes, I'm ready to jump. Just take my hands, get ready to jump.
All right. There you go. Some music to jump to. Baldan. Which song did you like out of those three? Did you like the first one we played by the Doozers? Did you like Nicole Atkins featuring Hamilton Lighthouser? I'm supposing Hamilton was the one on the keyboards. And Baldan. Let me know. You can call this number.
Call Mike at the Café Anyway hotline. Area code 510-228-4640.
Will you shut ups? Liberty Nation Freedom Foam for All.
More on this difference between the soul and the ego. The soul is of the higher nature, and the ego is about the lower nature. And this is interesting. Buddhism has eliminated the soul. The soul does not exist. It doesn't exist in Buddhism at this time. But several years ago, I found a book in the Vedanta Society bookstore here in San Francisco, and it's early Sanskrit literature.
Okay, that's fascinating. That's some of the comments that we get in the section called...
Oh my God!
Email for email and your calm and not so calm mess.
So feel free to call and leave a comment like that guy. And with more ways to get a hold of me, there's so many ways to get a hold of me. Just if you get a hold of me, don't hold too tight, hold on loosely, but don't let go. 38 Special. Ooh. And if you want to hear some 38 Special, I got a bunch on my little radio station that I have on my website, mikesdailypodcast.com, in the section called Best Obscure Rock Music Found by Mike Matthews. And there's a great song that 38 Special did called Somebody Like You that's been playing over and over in my head lately. So anyway, Café Anyway, with more ways to reach me, it's A-Frank.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com.
Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye!